The next one is about values. What drives you into action? It's all part of that purpose piece, right? What is it that moves you forward? And so what we're going to do is a very simple exercise, and it's almost like being a 5-year-old. We're going to ask the same question a few times, and it seems a bit silly, but when you look at it, it actually gets under the surface. What is important about the memory you just recalled? So you've just written down a memory on your piece of paper. I want you to spend a moment thinking about what was important about that memory. About the holiday overseas, about the exchange student, or about studying abroad and learning English. What was important about that? Was it opportunity? Where did that determination come from? Maybe as kids, the opportunity wasn't there, so it was very important for survival originally. Maybe it was that you were, missing something when you were a kid, and now you've got it. And it's like, I'm holding on to this, right? That's the determination. I'm guessing, right? I'm just joining dots. So on your piece of paper, pull out your piece of paper now, and just ask yourself the question, what's important about that memory? Why did you get that energy? Was it exploring? Was it growth? And here is a couple of words. Now, has anyone heard of the 6 Human Needs by Tony Robbins? And it's one of those classic pieces that Tony Robbins talks about. Love and connection, growth, contribution, variety, significance, and certainty. Which one of those words resonates with you guys? Just write down the word for yourself that resonates with the 6 human needs. You've got your memory, you've got what was important about it, and now you've got the 6 human needs as a bit of a direction for yourself. We all need all of them, but some of them are more important to each person. If someone's seeking love and connection, they're going to look to connect and make lots of friends. If someone's seeking growth, maybe they start their own business, because that's the ultimate in self-development. If somebody wants contribution, maybe you'll join a club and you'll become the president of that club. You know how it is. It could be a basketball club, or a sporting club, or a public speaking club, or any kind of club. Or maybe it's variety. Maybe you need lots of different things, or you get bored. That could be important to you. Or maybe it's significance. I get a bit of significance in this moment because you're all sitting and listening to me, right? Maybe you need some significance because in your job you're down because you don't have significance, let's say. Or maybe it's certainty. We all need certainty in survival. What's your word? Write down the most important word for you as to what is important about that memory. Which of these words connects to your memory? Have a think about that for a moment. Write down on your piece of paper what memory is important. And we'll come back when we have a break and we'll have a chat about it, but write down your word. Does anyone care to share a word that they've written down? Yes, Nelly?
Love and connection.
Love and connection. Fantastic. And was that connected to your memory?
Yes.
Fantastic. And so that memory, which you felt in the body, you then have that, what's important about that. And so when you think about your memory, what was important about the love and connection in that memory? Pardon?
Comfort.
Comfort. Absolutely. Fantastic. We all chase comfort. We all do it all the time. And so this simple exercise that's on the second page of your sheet, we've stirred your mind with your emotions and your anchoring session. The second page is a values session. And so you've got your memory from activity 1, write that down. We have the 5 times why. It's like we're a 5-year-old child. Why? 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 Why is that? And why is that? it's a bit silly. Anyone had a 5-year-old do that to them? And it's like, oh, just because it is. Stop it. Well, we've got to do that to your brain, so bear with us. So what's the question is, what is, the reason I put on here, is what is the 5 times why? So why is this important to you? So we go back to the question, why is that important to you? So the very first answer you put down in your values might have been connection. Well, why was that important to you in that memory? So if you'd like to write down the first answer to that, why was that important to you? So you've written down the first word. Well, why? Basically, you take the first word and you ask, why is that important? And then write down the second word that you come up with and say, well, why was that important? And what happens is you get under the surface. And if you start repeating yourself, you've probably found a big value for you, a high value, where you will do everything you can to get it. And if it's taken away, you feel down. When you get it, you feel up. Anyone had that experience before? And so write down on your piece of paper, why was that important to you? And so does somebody want to be an example for, and I'll be a demonstration and I'll take you through it myself so you can understand. Anyone would like to? Yes? Sure, okay. So what was the memory to start with? The original memory that triggered off the thing that was important to you.
Yeah.
So give me the word perhaps?
The memory of losing weight.
Losing weight, yeah. And why was that important to you?
For health.
Health. And why was that important to you?
Long life.
Long life. Happiness.
Be around longer.
Live and be around longer.
Looks better.
Look better.
Wear nice clothes.
Wear nice clothes. Well, we're off and running. We're off and running. We're finding some values right now. That's fantastic. And if you think about all those things, which one do you think of all those words as the most important to you?
For health.
Health. So that's about long life. It's about being strong, being able to contribute perhaps to family or friends or everybody around you. Yeah? So you can see you start to get under the surface of it. And so as you think about, what does that get you, do you think, being so healthy? What does it give you?
I can explore the world more.
Oh, explore the world. So is exploration important to you? Right. So because you're healthy and fit, and you're nimble, and you can get out there and explore the world. Amazing. And so as you're exploring the world, why is exploring the world important to you?
Happiness.
Happiness. Fantastic. So you see how the language starts to chunk up to a higher level. Happiness is a nice big broad term. And happiness, what does happiness mean to you?
Oh, that's a big.
That's a big question. I've gone too high. I've gone up to the universe level, right? So exploration, is variety important?
Yes.
Variety is important. So what you're doing is you're writing down a whole bunch of words here, and then as you go through the words, which one's the number one value, do you think, in those words? So write down the words, at least the 5, and then decide if you know straight away, if I went through it, is that important? Maybe you could number them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And one of them will be number 1. And if you're unsure, I can take you through a little question to really putting one in front of the other. If I took number 1 away from number 2, would you feel happy or sad? That's the way to test it. But for the moment, I'll give you a second just to write down your answers in all 5 slots and give them a number from 1 to 5. So pick a number 1 if it jumps out, then number 2, and you might see number 3 and go, oh no, that's number 1. So then scribble it and change it, and then renumber them. And you can rewrite them in the space at the bottom of the page. This is a values session, and we'll have a chat about that. We'll have a break in just a moment. I'll let you write those down, give you a couple of minutes. Writing down those answers. What's important to you? What does that get you? What does it give you? What does it provide? a break in just a moment. I'll give you a few more another minute. Just checking my time. And so, does anyone care to share if you've got any numbers? Like, what was the number one? Anyone got a list going? Anyone got a list at all going? Where you picked number one? Have you picked the number one? Yeah? Which one have you got? Growth. Wow. So if you get growth, what was number two?
Variety.
Variety. Growth, variety, and number three?
Significance.
Significance. So do you ever have a situation where you might get growth and variety, but someone took away significance, but you still soldier on? Yeah? Or you miss out on growth, but you get variety and significance, and you kind of, all right, still going along, but one day all three were taken away, and you're out. Like if you lose motivation, I'm out. I've had the same thing. For me, growth is number one, respect and connection. And I can have two of the top three, and I'm all good. You take away all three, and I'm out the door. See you later. Or it won't take too long, And so, as long as I'm getting two or three of them, I'm generally good. If I'm getting one out of the three, or I better be getting a whole bunch of stuff in the next 6 for that to be okay. And so, can you see how now we can start to plan for our future? Oh, well, I need to have growth. If I go to a job that's the same every day with no significance or variety, I'm in a bit of trouble. I'm going to be like dragging my feet. So you want to have that motivation. So this allows you to plan and break through your whole future. You can actually start to think, well, what's on my agenda? What's in my job? What's in my social activities? What's with my friendships? Are my friends making me feel this way? Or do I need to find a few other friends, a few other groups, a few other associations? Do you see how you can start to plan your whole life differently? And you can break through to a different life. So thank you for sharing, that's great. So that's a really good example. And so what we'll do now, we'll have a break. So how do we go with the 5 times why? Anyone have any lessons or takeaways from that? Anyone care to share what you learnt about what was your highest value? Maybe if we go around the room, and do you have a highest value that you chose?
The growth.
The growth, the number one?
Yes.
So we've got growth. Anybody else got a highest value that I haven't shared yet? Anyone else? How about yourself?
Also growth.
Growth, yeah. What would be your second?
Significance.
Significance. And 3?
Love.
Love and connection. Beautiful. And what was the memory that was connected to that?
Hiking to the summit of Mount Taranaki.
Oh.
So that was like pretty tough.
Wow. Wow. So that's huge. Wow, that's amazing. What an experience. So hiking, and so that's So is this helpful to know those top 3 values, and then you look at your existing life? Are you living those 3 values in your daily life?
Yes, I am.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. And so, do you think it makes it easy now knowing you can articulate that?
Yeah, definitely.
And so, if you make a decision, the decision gets easier because you've got your top 3. Yeah. And so, I actually do a whole hour-and-a-half session with clients on values like this. And we create a list of about 25, 30 values, and we unpack all of that in a one-on-one context. And when we do that, we then have the motivation strategy. And then from that, we also have the towards strategy and the away strategy at the same time. Take them all away, you're out the door, give them all, and you're in. And it's important to know. More than that, there's also a thing called threshold values, where you might get number 1 and 2, but number 3 and 4 are gone. So there's a bit of internal resistance. You've taken away the love and connection part, but I'm getting significance. It's like, ooh, would you mind having number 3 as well, please? Makes sense, right? And so when you understand that, you can start to understand, what's the deal I'm making in my head here? Am I making a deal with the universe that, all right, I'm putting up with this because I'm getting this, and you can be okay with it? Or you can say, I'm not putting up with that without this. So we start to understand why we get conflicted. Makes sense, doesn't it? And so with that, that's the values session. And the values session, it's like one of the early pieces I'll do with a one-on-one client, because once I have their values in my hand, I can say, oh, right, okay, well, I'll just ask them, are you getting this? Are you getting that? Are you getting this? And they'll say, yes, yes, no, 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 yes. Oh, okay, so is it important to have those other things? And whole conversation to figure out, all right, what's the plan? The Google Maps search, point A, point B, the blue squiggly line, turning left and turning right. If we don't have point B, we can't. So that's what's inside you. So that's the value session.